the All Pro Nation podcast live right here on the All Pro Nation. Oh, we don't even do All Pro Nation Radio Network. Look at me. I'm still used to saying that, Tanner.
Yeah, I know.
But you're listening to the All Pro Nation podcast here on allpronation.com or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast on iTunes, Google+,
yes, sir.
Spotify, wherever. We're here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. It's that time of the year. It's cooking here in Zona.
I hear you. It's a little hot and sticky.
Did you get that beard shaved yet?
No, the beard's still there. Beard's still there, man.
Are you gonna shave it when you win a Super Bowl, or?
So here's my thing. So all right. Anybody listening, y'all don't care about this, but I'm telling you the story anyways. I've never in my life grown facial hair, ever. Maybe gone a day or two without shaving. I'm getting married in September. My future bride likes the beard. I grew the beard. Don't at me on this. Things you do for women, right? And so I grew in the beard. So here's my plan, though. Like, I've decided, like, I'm like kind of trimming it just so it, professionally I don't look like a homeless man walking around Shreveport. But I'm really not cutting any length off of it. And I'm just going to grow this sucker until September. And then the night before my wedding, I'm going to go and shave it all off. So the next time my bride sees me, I will have gone from full beard to baby face. You think she's going to be mad about that?
I feel like she might be a little depressed at the altar. I'm hoping I can be there for that, and if she leaves, I can try bringing her back to you. I'll be like your security blanket. Like, I got you.
But yes, I'm still full beard, and it is hot. It is starting to get kind of itchy. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, man, we're going to be talking NFC East today. We're going to have Jeff Cavanaugh from 105.3 in Dallas joining us, so that's going to be cool. Finals are getting ready to get started.
Yes, sir.
Pretty excited about that. I know you're a basketball guy.
Yeah, not as excited this year just because LeBron's not playing anymore. I always miss the villain, kind of seeing the villain get dethroned. But the Warriors have claimed that new title. It should still be a good series, I think. But, you and I have discussed this a little bit, and I don't really think it's going to be – it'll be competitive, but I'm still going to say the Warriors will probably take this in 5. Yeah,
I'm going Warriors in 6, but it'd be super fun to see them lose too. So I'm kind of split. I'm not a fan of either team. I'm just a fan of good games. So that's all I can hope for, some good games come out of it.
Touche.
Yeah. And then all right, so NFC East. Let me get your opinion before we hear from Jeff. How do you think this thing's going to shake out?
All right. I know we'll probably have a lot of Cowboys fans listening again, so I just need you guys to take it easy on me. I don't see the Cowboys repeating as division champions this year. An NFC East team has not repeated back-to-back titles since 2003, 2004, back when the Eagles did it. I'm going to say the Eagles are going to claim the title again this year. If they get a full healthy squad, I think they're just by far the most talented team in the NFC East. And I do think the Redskins are going to surprise some people. I'll say that the Redskins probably going to go 7-9, 8-8. I think they're going to be better than what most people think. The season probably started out Colt McCoy, Case Keenum as the starter, and then Dwayne Haskins take over shortly towards the end of the year there. It also wouldn't surprise me to see, every year it seems like a starter goes down somewhere in the NFL, and we could probably see Colt McCoy or Case Keenum be traded even before the season starts. So that also would not surprise me.
Hot takes.
Yeah, Cowboys would be right there with the Redskins, 8-8, I think, somewhere around that finish line. And then we got the New York Giants coming in. I'm not as low on them as you are, but I think they'll probably win about 6 games.
Yeah. So I'm going. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to take the Cowboys actually winning the division.
Back to back, first time in 10 years or however long.
Yeah,
15 years.
And look, we've got a bunch of new Cowboys fans probably listening to this just because of Jeff Cowboys fans, do not go listen to previous podcasts. Just listen to us from here on out. I'm not always favorable to the Cowboys, okay? I'll admit it. But
you can't be. You can't be. You live there in Cowboy country, and you're a Saints fan, so you gotta throw some shade every once in a while to make it fun.
That's true. But look, no, I do think the Cowboys have gotten better this off season. I would argue. I think everybody is all high on the Eagles. I actually think the Eagles. I mean, other than having a healthy Carson Wentz, I think the Eagles have actually gotten worse this off season. I would argue that.
For real?
Yeah. So. I mean, they added some good pieces. I don't know, man. I'm just not on the Eagles.
I think they got better. Michael Bennett's gone, but other than that, I mean, they added Deshaun Jackson. They got Nelson Aguilar, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the new draft pick, Carson Wentz, if he's healthy.
If he's healthy, what are they going to do if he's not healthy? There's no.
Well,
to lean back on.
Well, Nate Sudfeld's going to be the heir apparent to the throne.
Oh, so. God. Bye. I'm hanging up. So I think the Cowboys are going to win the division. The Eagles, I think it's going to be close. I think they'll probably be – I could see them both being 10-6 and the Cowboys just winning the tiebreaker there. I think it's going to be close. I think that game's going to come down to the end of the season for sure. So I'm going to go Cowboys. I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to go Redskins. I'm with you. I think the Redskins are probably going to pull out an 8-8 or maybe even a 9-7 season. And then I think the Giants are going to be all the way at the bottom, winless, maybe one game.
Oh my gosh, that's such a spicy take.
Yeah. So
Barkley can will them to at least 3 W's by himself.
Yeah, until he gets hurt, because they rely too much on him. So, anyways, that's where I'm at as far as the Eagles go. So, anyways, well, let's get Jeff on the phone, man. Let's see what Jeff has to say. All right, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. So me and Tanner have the pleasure to welcome with us someone who, if you follow the Cowboys, you might be familiar with, Jeff Cavanaugh. Jeff, how you doing, man?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, real quick for everybody, go ahead. If they know you or if they don't know you, where they can find you at on the internet and interact with you a little bit.
Oh, man, you ready for a list? Let's see.
I'm ready.
You could listen on 1053thefan.com in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on the home of the Cowboys on the midday show from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You could listen to the Trust the Tape podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch me play Fortnite on twitch.com/TimeForJeffrey. You can find me on Instagram at TimeForJeffrey. You can find me on Twitter at JC1053, and you can find me on YouTube at Jeff Cavanaugh.
Well, there you go. So if you didn't catch all that, you can just pause it, rewind, write it all down. We'll go from there.
Yeah, none of it really matters. I'm always on Twitter at JC1053. That's where I hang out.
All right, awesome. Well, Jeff, glad to have you. I'm not too far away from you. I'm just a couple hours down the road over in Shreveport.
Let's go gamble.
What's that?
Let's go gamble. Let's go play craps.
Come on, man. Come on, yeah. So Shreveport's kind of this weird part of the country where the fan base is pretty split 50-50. Half of them are Saints fans and the other half are Cowboys, and they both claim to be diehards. So, it just depends on which team's winning. Depends on who gets the most coverage at a given time.
I've decided the Saints are my second team, and I think that a lot of people picked them, especially after Katrina, because it's like the kind of like a redemption story or an overcoming adversity story. Plus, they're not too terribly far away, so I've adopted them as my second team. I think people are allowed to split.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Shreveport as a Saints fan, but I tell you what, as a kid, I loved Emmitt Smith. He was my all-time favorite player when I was a kid, and I had everything Emmitt Smith, and so there's definitely love for the Cowboys there too.
There you go.
But all right, well anyway, let's jump right on in. So today we're kind of looking at the NFC East, and Jeff, what team? Cowboys had a pretty good season last year. Do you think they're going to be able to go off and win the NFC East again this year, or what team do you think is going to pose a big threat to them?
I think I will pick them to win the division again, and it's kind of weirded me out because I'm watching all the betting odds, and it seems like the Eagles tend to be the favorite to win the division, and I get it since they've won a recent Super Bowl, but they didn't win the division last year, and the Cowboys roster has continued to get better. And they're going to get back Travis Frederick. They're going to get back an all-pro center when their offensive line struggled last year, and they've added offensive line depth. So the Cowboys are better than they were a year ago. So I don't understand them not being the favorite, although I think that them and Philly are both 10-win teams, 10, somewhere in the range of 10, 11, 9. I think both of those teams are going to fall right in that range. And I think Washington's sneaky. It just depends what they do, how they get quarterback play, because I think Washington, despite being what I consider a totally inept organization at the top, they have done a good job of acquiring talent. I think they got a good roster. I just don't know what they're going to get out of quarterback.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, that's a good question to kick things off. The last time NFC East team won back-to-back division championships is 2003-2004.
Which means I'm definitely wrong. It won't be the same. No, I know.
Yeah. Sticking with Washington there, who do you kind of see maybe as the favorite, as the starter there? I think they got 3 guys there that could easily be the starter in week 1.
I think it'll be Case Keenum. Now, this is just without having any inside information. My guess is if you traded for a guy, now they traded for him before they knew that their quarterback was going to fall in their lap at 15 in the draft, and they were going to be able to get Dwayne Haskins there. So by the end of the year, I'm sure it'll be Dwayne Haskins. At the beginning of the year, my guess is Case Keenum. These days, if you're a first-round quarterback, you rarely get to actually sit a full year and watch. But in the case of Haskins, I bet it starts off that way. And when they get to the point where it looks like they're not a threat to be a real contender, I bet they pass it over at that point to Haskins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think either one of those guys, it seems like, could be the starter. I think Dwayne, like you said, Dwayne Haskins will probably be the starter towards the end of the season, but I know Jay Gruden really loves Colt McCoy, so it really wouldn't surprise me to see him as the guy week 1 too.
Well, Colt McCoy he's a Longhorn, so I have much respect for Colt McCoy. He's done a great job of hanging around the league and making like between $5 and $10 million every year without having to play. That's the American dream.
That is the American dream. You got that right.
He went to I think he graduated post-college from the school of Matt Flynn, where you're able to make a shit ton of money and not do anything for it. It's been awesome.
And the chancellor of that school is Sam Bradford, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, hey, so sticking with quarterback, and obviously I know Dak Prescott very well, seeing as we grew up in the same area. How do you think that Dak Prescott has what it takes to get the Cowboys to the next level? There was a lot of debate on if he could get them to the playoffs. He did. Then could he win a playoff game? Now, can he get them to a Super Bowl?
So I got in trouble because I said I don't think the Cowboys are ever going to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as the quarterback. And I think he's capable of it. I just think at this point in his career, he's about to go from being the best value in all of football to us wondering if he's worth his contract, because he's about to be a $30 million man, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen before the season starts. So their best chance at the Super Bowl is going to be this year or next year for sure, because after that, you are going to start having a pretty big crunch on the number of guys you're going to be able to add. So I think, to me, there's a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott to show that he can just continue to grow, evolve, and get better. And I'm not – if I had to pick somebody to bet on to get better every day, it's Dak. If you're talking about the guy and you're talking about the work ethic and you're talking about the it factor and the leadership and will he do the work and or will people fight for him, all those things are a resounding yes. The questions I have are about his ability to be an above-average NFL passer from the pocket consistently. If he can continue to develop in that way, then sure, he can win a Super Bowl with and for the Cowboys. He can, in the same way that every quarterback in the league who is somewhere between the 15th and 8th best quarterback in the league can.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of my thing, too. It's like, right now the Cowboys do have a good value. They have a starting caliber quarterback at a very reasonable price. Are they able to put pieces around him? Although I'll argue that sometimes I think Jerry Jones gets in his own way. But when it comes time to that new contract, you really have to think, is Dak Prescott worth that, or do you start looking for another option at quarterback?
Yeah, and the problem is because I'm actually with you, amongst people in DFW that are allowed to be on the radio, I'm probably viewed as one of the negative guys on Dak, in that I don't love what it's going to mean for your ability to build a team when he gets the amount of money that he's going to get. But the other side of that coin is the reality in football. If you have a contending football team and you're getting at least okay quarterback play, and you don't have a plan to replace that, and this year they didn't have a first-round pick, what are you going to do? You're stuck.
Right.
That's your guy. You're ride or die with that guy, and you just hope that you're able to be good enough over the next couple of years to win it. And if not, then for most quarterbacks when they sign their new deal, 3 years after that, you could get out and try again with a cheaper guy. But you just nobody in the NFL is willing to walk away from a contender, basically.
Right.
Yeah, this is like you said too. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was saying, like the Denver Broncos proved to us a couple of years ago, you can win a championship with mediocre play at quarterback. And so, they won a Super Bowl with what I would argue was a shell of Peyton Manning. It was the defense that actually won that. And that's one thing that I think stands out when you look at this Cowboys team is the defense has been very good as of late and looks to only be getting better. Especially with Van Der Esch, I think the defense is going to end up being a strong suit for this team.
I think they will too, but I don't want to downplay what Dak has been, especially since Amari Cooper was added. He was even as just a passer. If we just want to take out the fact that he's going to give you 400 to 600 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground every year, he was an average NFL quarterback throwing the ball at least once Amari Cooper was added, probably somewhere above average. So. He's not holding them back in any way. I just wonder how much can he elevate them when he has to.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw you an off-the-topic question. It's not really off the topic. We're still talking Cowboys, but how come Randy Gregory is still on the team?
Okay, that's a great question. And I think no, and I don't mean that as a great question as in I don't think he should be on the team. I think it's a great question because I think if you're not around the Cowboys a lot, I would say the exact same thing if this were a player on a team I don't cover. Randy Gregory is on the Cowboys because to cut him would be to cut a guy who makes nothing that potentially can help you a whole lot. And unlike David Irving, who also is gone from the Cowboys now, David Irving would fail every drug test. David Irving didn't love football. David Irving wasn't an accountable person. David Irving didn't care. Randy Gregory is a dude that has real-life mental health problems, that loves football, that his teammates love, that is at work every day, that wants it real bad, that just can't keep passing drug tests. And so during the draft process, they threw around the term. I don't know if it's ever been verified, so I don't want to put this on him, but bipolar is something that's been thrown around, anxiety, depression, all these different things. So Jason Garrett doesn't like guys on his team that aren't what we call the RKG, the right kind of guy, and he views Randy Gregory, despite the fact that he has trouble passing drug tests, as the right kind of guy because the dude wants it. He's a good teammate. He just can't stop going to what he goes to cope with his mental illness.
It's I think that is pretty similar to I think a lot of fans outside the Cowboys, like you said, don't know that. See, I didn't know that. That's really good info, kind of similar probably to Josh Gordon's situation. We always hear great things about him being a good teammate and stuff, but just never really seem to be able to pass the test that he needed to get on the field every Sunday.
Yeah, I think there's guys that can't pass drug tests that also don't care, and coaches and teammates aren't going to fight for that guy. But a guy who can't pass a drug test because he's got real-life situations going on that he's using something as a coping mechanism, I think Randy Gregory is going to be part of the thing that changes the NFL, where they're going to throw away this weed rule because Jerry Jones is going to fight for it and be like, there's a good person out here who, my God, he smokes weed. And he's a good dude that just wants to play football and be a perfect teammate and be a good guy. And he can't pull it off. And he can't help our team because he smokes weed. So stupid.
Before you get too tensed up, we'll move on to another subject. Moving on to let's talk Giants football. They've had some questionable picks this year in the draft. I think me and Chris both, we talk about it every week. We're really not big fans of Dave Gettleman or Eli Manning, for that matter of fact. How do you think they're going to fare this year without Odell Beckham Jr.?
Well, I think they did a great job finally picking a first-round quarterback. They decided Sam Darnold wasn't good enough, but Daniel Jones was, so good for them. They managed to pick a quarterback in the top 10 who's not better than Eli Manning, and that's hard to do. So the Giants they'll be the bottom of the division. They're a trash team. They have absolutely nothing. Odell Beckham was the best thing on that team, so I'm actually glad for him that he's not a part of it anymore. And without Odell, the splits for Eli Manning when he's throwing with Odell in the game and Odell not in the game, it's staggering. And we all know if you look at Eli's career numbers, he's kind of a bad quarterback anyway. Without Odell Beckham, he's basically the worst quarterback of all time. So that team is a nothing. They did not have a real good draft, and it's not going to get good anytime soon for them, which is awesome.
I mean, for people that listen to this podcast regularly, they know I am not a fan of the Giants or Eli Manning, and I am just ecstatic to see that they are just become such an inept organization. Like it is possible to be worse than the Browns, and the Giants have done it. So there you go.
Yeah, and the quarterback thing, and so Daniel Jones at 6. The one thing I'll say for that is if your scouts and your GM identified a guy and they said that's our quarterback, then they did the right thing in picking him. You don't trade down and hope you can still get him. You don't pick a different guy because the rest of the world likes him better. If you think that's your guy and he's going to lead your franchise, you pick him. So kudos to them for having the nuts to pick the guy that's their guy. It's just if you're a gambling man, the odds are based on Daniel Jones, everything about him, whether you're going tape, statistical analysis, whatever you're going with, the odds of him being a quality starting NFL quarterback are low. And then their next pick, they reached again for a nose tackle in the first round. The only thing I liked they did in the draft was I liked DeAndre Baker, the corner from Georgia, and I liked Julian Love, the corner from Notre Dame. So I think they picked a couple of good corners, but the rest of that team, man, poor Saquon Barkley. Enjoy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really did. Yeah. I mean, I like Dexter Lawrence a lot, just not at the value that they got him at. I think they could have got him in round 2 probably if they needed to. Trade up at the very least, but, yeah, that's our thoughts on it.
The only thing I wish the Giants still had going for them is I wish they still had Ben McAdoo because I just miss making fun of him every week.
Yeah, he's got a weird haircut.
Yeah. I miss making fun of Ben McAdoo, but hey, you win some, you lose some. All right, so now we can kind of shift over to the Eagles, which we already kind of touched on them a little bit. But which offseason addition do you think is going to have the biggest impact for them? You know, they got Zach Brown, Malik Jackson, Jordan Howard, Deshaun Jackson. You know, which one of those do you think is going to be the biggest?
I think Deshaun Jackson will be the biggest impact. I love the fit with him going back there to line up across from Alshon Jeffrey, where you've got your possession but not really a flashy or speedy guy, and then you can leave Nelson Aguilar in the slot and you plug in Deshaun Jackson as the big play guy. I love that fit, and I think that's going to be the biggest impact. I won't pick Jordan Howard, 1, because I think he's just a guy. That's why he was acquired for a 5th-round pick. And 2, I love Miles Sanders from Penn State, the running back picked in the 2nd round. So I don't think Jordan Howard's going to get more than 120, 150 carries. And I do think Deshaun Jackson's got a chance to be a 900 to 1,000-yard receiver. So, and I thought I hate that they did well because that's kind of the Cowboy rivals. The Cowboy rivals, whichever NFC East team is good at the time. And for those other teams, the Cowboys are all of their biggest rival, which is a lot of fun. But their best move was getting Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle at number 22 overall, when they jumped the Houston Texans, and then Houston had to take a much worse player at the same position. So I thought they did a really good job in the draft. And so the Eagles, they're dangerous. They had a good off season. I think Deshaun Jackson will be the biggest addition.
Yeah, we kind of went through every team here now in the NFC East. This is also kind of an off-the-wall question, but I'm really curious, just based off of your perception being a Cowboys fan, which team within that division do you hate the most?
Right now, the Eagles. When the Giants were consistently good, it was the Giants. So I think,
so it varies.
Yeah, I think for Cowboy fans it varies. I think for a lot of older Cowboy fans it may just be Washington permanently. But for me, I think it's whichever one, if the Cowboys are good, whatever other team is good at the same time. So right now it's Philly, but you polled the fan base, I think it would be Philly and then New York is the most hated.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I just kind of got the perception that you kind of hated the Giants the most. But
well, I do. It's the thing is that I'm going to talk more negatively about the Giants because they suck. Right?
Fair enough.
When you bring up the Giants, it's hard to be like, well, they're really good at – because then you look at the roster, you go, oh, they're not good at anything. They're just a terrible football team. They're good at running back. They got a good running back, that Giant team does.
Uh-huh.
But the other teams in the division actually have good rosters, so they're harder to just – be totally negative about because they might be okay at football.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. I got a little sidetracked for a minute. All right. So I guess the next thing I want to ask is the rookies that So we just had the NFL draft. The rookies that come out. Which on the offensive side of the ball, which rookie do you think is going to throughout the whole division is going to be the rookie of the year out of that division?
Offensively, let's see. For the Eagles, I do like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I don't know if he'll get enough snaps to make a huge impact. So for the Eagles, it'll be Miles Sanders will be the best offensive rookie. For the Cowboys, Tony Pollard, the running back /
Oh, really?
Memphis will be the best offensive rookie. For Washington, it'll be Dwayne Haskins, unless Terry McLaurin ends up being a starter somehow. And for the Giants, it'll be obviously Daniel Jones. So we can eliminate the Giants. That was easy. If Haskins starts all year, it'll probably be Haskins. Otherwise, I will say Miles Sanders is the offensive rookie of the year in the NFC East.
Okay.
All right.
How about the other side of the ball, defense? Have you had a chance to look at defense at all?
Yeah, let me see here. So for Washington, who's the best defensive player they picked? Oh, Montez Sweat. Hello. Washington had two awesome picks fall in their lap. How about that? Sit at 15 and Dwayne Haskins make it. Sit at 26. Or did they go up to 26? Either way, to get Montez Sweat at 26 was awesome. Cowboys are going to expect a lot out of Tristan Hill as their 3-technique defensive tackle. Giants are going to expect a lot out of Dexter Lawrence and DeAndre Baker. Defensive rookie of the year. Let's see, was Kerrigan on that side? Montez Sweat will have 6 to 8 sacks and will be the defensive rookie of the year in the NFC East.
I was going to say that seems like a pretty easy selection. I would say Montez Sweat, as long as he stays healthy, that should be his.
Yeah, because Dexter Lawrence being a nose tackle, I know he's an athletic nose tackle, but he's not going to be a stats guy just because of his position. He could play really well, and he still wouldn't get a ton of recognition, just like they shipped off Damon Harrison as if he didn't matter, even though he was the best nose tackle in the game.
Right. Well, we won't take too much of your time here, Jeff. Just kind of last question for you. I know it's really early. It's June. We got a long way to go. But how do you kind of see right now the NFC East playing out this year?
Cowboys 11-5, Eagles 10-6, Washington 6 or 7, 7-9.
Right
Giants,
there.
Giants 2-14.
Oh my gosh! that bad, huh?
Yeah, they'll have the first pick in the draft. Well, I don't know. Miami might fight him for that. That depends on Josh Rosen. If you think about Josh Rosen, I know this has nothing to do with the NFC East. Think about this. If you're Josh Rosen, you just played on the worst roster in the NFL, maybe in the history of the NFL last year. And now you get traded to Miami, who before they traded for you had decided they were going to tank and got rid of all their good players, tried to acquire draft picks. So he's going to go from the worst team in the history of the league to the worst team in the history of the league. That poor guy.
Yeah,
correct.
That's correct. Situation.
And then you know what's going to happen? The Patriots are going to trade like a 4th or 5th round pick for him after he has another bad year on a bad team. He's going to be the heir apparent to Tom Brady. He's going to win 5 Super Bowls. That's That's going to be Josh Rosen's career arc. Get ready for it.
Oh, I'm saving this podcast and coming back to that because you know what? I love that. That sounds amazing to me.
It's going to happen. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
I'll actually love that. Yeah, I'm with you. In fact, I'm a little bit further down on the Giants. I only have them winning one game this year.
See, you're a hater.
Oh my gosh, you guys both shocked me.
I'd love for them to go undefeated, but that's such a Cleveland thing to do. So we won't let them do that.
Cleveland's going to be balling this year, and you know it.
Cleveland's winning. Cleveland's winning the AFC North, hands down.
I think I'm going to have the Stones to make that pick too. It's a little scary, but I'm going to go with it.
I think Baker Mayfield is going to be one of the best quarterbacks next year.
Dude, Baker Mayfield throwing to Beckham and Jarvis Landry. That is the swaggiest quarterback to receiver combo in the history of football.
Yeah, that's gonna.
And if they go 0-4 out of the gate, it's gonna be terrible up there.
Oh, they'll burn the city to the ground.
Yeah, they're gonna be like the most confident, fun-having team ever while they're winning. And if they ever lose a game, it's gonna get wild.
Yeah, it's gonna be good times watching Cleveland next year for sure. All right, Jeff, do you have anything else? I mean, it don't have to even be NFC East related. Anything else, football or hell, finals are getting ready to get started, basketball related.
I want to see the Robert Kraft tape. I want to see it.
Oh, no, we don't want to see that.
I want to know what that man's working with. I want to know.
Oh, my gosh.
That's it. That's my final thought. Free Robert Kraft.
Oh, my goodness.
Show me the billionaire weenie.
You heard it, Roger.
All right, Roger Goodell, you hear it? I'm sending this tape to Roger Goodell. We want to see it. Man, well, Jeff, I sure do appreciate you taking time. I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much for making some room for us today. We'd love to have you back if you ever have the time, man.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I had a great time. Yeah, anytime you need me, I'm here. Love it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it.
All right. Take care, man. All right. Well, that was Jeff Cavanaugh. Y'all be sure to go give him a follow. Be sure that you listen to tell him that you listen to the All Pro Nation podcast. Thanks to him. And we would love to have him back. Good stuff from Jeff, huh, Tanner?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It was great having Jeff on.
Yeah.
We appreciate the time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hey, look, this might be one of the shorter podcasts we've ever done. You know, we're notorious for an hour plus. And
everybody's busy. Everybody's busy.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Jeff, thank you again for joining us. Tanner, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And
it's been real, buddy.
I guess. And then next week we will be talking about the AFC East. So, be talking Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. So it's going to be a fun podcast. If you like listening to this, please like and subscribe. Be sure to tell all your friends about the All Pro Nation podcast. You can find us online on the Twitterverse at All Pro Nation and online at allpronation.com. You can follow me on Twitter at 318 Chris Smith, and you can follow him, Tanner, at purple_post. Until next week.
Peace.